What are the symptoms of diabetic neuropathy? If you've been dealing with diabetes and you're noticing you're starting to experience other symptoms, then you may have asked this very question. If that's you, then you're in the right place because I'm here to answer that question in today's video, so let's get started. Hi, I'm Dr. Kelly, Doctor of Cause, Chiropractic, board certified in sports medicine, and specialized in clinical nutrition. In this video, we're going to go over a little known detail when it comes to diabetic neuropathy. There is more than meets the eye with this one, guys. Then I'm going to share with you the most common signs and symptoms of diabetic neuropathy. The one you're probably most familiar with is burning, but there are several others that could be a sign of neuropathy. Finally, I will be sharing with you the most effective method for stopping neuropathy in its tracks. This is one that you can start today. Let's dive on in. What is the little known detail when it comes to diabetic neuropathy? Well, it's actually that there's 4 types of diabetic neuropathy, and most people are only familiar with one type. That type is the peripheral neuropathy. This is the most common presentation of nerve damage, which is what neuropathy actually is when you're dealing with diabetes. Now, peripheral neuropathy deals with your hands and your feet, okay? But there's a second type of neuropathy known as autonomic neuropathy. This has to deal with the nerves that actually go to your organ systems. The third category of neuropathy is known as proximal neuropathy. Now, peripheral is hands and feet. Proximal has to deal with the upper part of the legs, your glute area, your hips. And then the fourth category of neuropathy is actually known as mononeuropathy. This is focal neuropathy. So when they're talking about this type of neuropathy, it involves one specific nerve, not kind of a global presentation within the different areas that you would find those other neuropathies. So that's kind of complicated, I know, but so many people are familiar with burning sensation, right? As we can see now, with there being 4 different types of neuropathy that somebody could be experiencing as a result of being a diabetic, there's way more to the story here. So I'm super curious. Did you have any idea that there's actually 4 categories of diabetic neuropathy? Just drop your comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Now, as I just alluded to, there are far more symptoms to diabetic neuropathy than just that burning sensation. So let's go over what the most common presentations are of each category of neuropathy. When you're dealing with peripheral neuropathy, the most common sensation you're going to experience is the burning in your hands or your feet. You could also experience numbness or altered sensation to temperature, like maybe you grab a cup of coffee and it's so much more intense than what it would be otherwise. You could have tingling sensation, and oftentimes the peripheral neuropathy intensifies at night. When it comes to autonomic neuropathy, you're going to have a whole different presentation of symptoms because, again, this is what starts affecting your organ system. So these people could be experiencing nausea, even vomiting after eating because the stomach is slower to empty. You could be having issues with bladder control or bowel control. This also affects reproductive organs, so you could have a diminished drive or diminished libido. And the other area that the autonomic neuropathy affects are your eyes. So if you're noticing changes in your vision or just your eyes being able to adapt, from lightness to darkness, that might be a sign of autonomic neuropathy. Now, proximal neuropathy will present with symptoms more in the upper thighs, the glutes, the hips. It can also spread to the abdominal and the chest area. So it's like this more upper portion of your body. How this presents is generally with severe pain. You may notice that your muscles seem to just be diminishing or disappearing. You could be having difficulty in changing position, like getting back up out of a chair. And you could even have some stomach pain with this one. Now, with mononeuropathy, there's actually 2 types. There's cranial and there's peripheral. So when it comes to cranial, we're talking about symptoms that are going to really present in the face or the eye. So when it comes to eye, you could be having issues with double vision or maybe even aching behind one eye. As far as the face is concerned, you could have what presents as a Bell's palsy, where it's paralysis of one side of your face. Now, the peripheral kind of looks like your peripheral neuropathy already, but it's going to be in one area. So it could be your arm or it could be your, foot, your hand, just one of them. And you're noticing that numbness, the tingling, the burning sensation. Now, I know that's a variety of different symptoms, but it's important for you to understand that it is more than just that burning sensation. So if you're experiencing any of those types of symptoms, then you might want to explore in further detail what's going on with your diabetes and how are things progressing, because this is not really a good indication. Now, before I get into the most effective strategy, though, for helping you stop neuropathy in its tracks, I just want to take a moment and remind you to click that subscribe button down below, turn the notifications on, and while you're down there, give me a big like. I am producing content for you regularly to help you be able to take back control of your health so you can achieve what I like to call total body mastery, where you're basically like invincible. Okay, so again, just click that subscribe button down below, turn on the notifications on, and give me a big thumbs up. Now, what is the most effective strategy for stopping neuropathy in its tracks? Might be one that you're semi-familiar with, but I'm going to drive the point home and give you detail what this looks like. You need to focus on what you're eating, okay? How you feel your body is incredibly important. There used to be a time where doctors seemed to share more ideas about diet with their patients dealing with diabetes, but that seems to have stopped at this point in time. So if your doctor has said anything, that's a positive. But I feel like we're in this time where, not that this is a bad thing, but when you're a diabetic, and let's say even with type 2, maybe you're at the point where you're on insulin, they've almost made it a lot easier. Like, it's more convenient for you if you have a pump or whatever the case may be. But at the same point, that can also be a detriment. Because I know now there's apps that you can like go and choose what it is you're going to eat, and it's directly attached to your pump, and it already calculates how much insulin you're going to need. Or our doctors aren't really seeming to educate that, hey, just because you're taking metformin or whatever other glucose lowering medication, they don't tell you where the glucose goes, that blood sugar, right? They don't tell you how it works. They don't tell you the long-term risks associated with staying on the medication. And even if it's insulin, they don't tell you that the more insulin you're on, the more health problems you're going to have and the shorter the life you're going to be living, guys, which I'm sorry if that's the first you're hearing that, and that's kind of scary, but this is critically important. And what I want you to know is you have so much control right at your fingertips, and it's all focused on what you're eating. Okay, there's more to it, but that is like one of the most important variables. So when it comes to neuropathy specifically, part of what's happening is when your blood sugar is going unchecked or you're continuing to spike it, whether you're still using an oral, medication, or you're using insulin to try to bring those glucose levels down, your nerves are incredibly sensitive to sugars, okay? It is what destroys them. And along with nerves, it's not just the nerves that run throughout your body, but this is also happening in your brain. It basically lights them all on fire because refined carbohydrates, sugars, foods that have a high glycemic index, which maybe you're familiar with that word, your body, it creates a lot of spike in blood sugar. They are really stressful to your nervous system because they create inflammation, which is basically like lighting them on fire. Okay. So when you want to eat to stop neuropathy in its tracks, you want to avoid sugar or simple carbohydrate, refined carbohydrate, or even just too many carbohydrates in the form of grains and fruits and whatever comes in packages, okay? That is going to be one of the biggest things that you can work to eliminate out of your diet. Now you might be going like, okay, what am I supposed to eat? If you want to eat to really work to stop neuropathy, then when you look at your plate, 3/4 of your plate, 75% of your plate should be of vegetables. Preferably, most frequently, the ones that grow above the surface, okay? Then the other quarter should be a protein from a clean source, an unadulterated source. I am a big advocate of eating things the way that they occur in nature. So that's where like the Whole30 diet would be something that would be acceptable for working towards stopping with neuropathy, or paleo, or even keto, okay? But also clean means that they're unadulterated. They're being raised the way that God intended them to be. So we're not loading things up with pesticides and herbicides and fertilizers, and we're not injecting our animals with antibiotics and hormones. We're not feeding them things that they're not supposed to be eating, okay? So 1/4 of the plate is a clean protein source. 3/4 of the plate is a vegetable source. And then you're putting your healthy good fats, which actually put the fire out They don't make you fat. They don't clog up your arteries. They actually are really important for nervous system health, brain health. You're putting that on your vegetables. Vegetables are a great vehicle for getting good fats in. Now, if that's kind of overwhelming and you would like an actual visual of what does this look like, I've got an example for you, and it's right down in the description below this video. So click on the description so it expands out. Scroll down till you see full body reset meal plan. Click that link, tell me where to send it to, and you will have an example that will show you how you can already start working to stop your neuropathy in its tracks within 7 days. It is super easy to follow. It's very time efficient. These recipes are kid tested, Dr. Mom approved, and you've got all access to the recipes. You've got a shopping list and then the meal plan. You don't have to follow that, but it is one that it's actually designed to keep life easy for you so you're not living in the kitchen all of the time. I hope that today's video was really informative and helpful for you. I can't wait to see you on a future episode, and let's just continue this health journey together. God bless.